large-scale events that they are known for at this time. About 100 events that accrue about $500,000 for many charities in this area have been postponed as well. But officials of this country club say that other clubs and other food vendors have stepped up to the plate, offered their services for many of the couples, many of the charities, many of the organizations that were depending on the Kirkbrae Country Club. At this time, you can still see that golfers are coming by and there are still people outside of this country club, but cleanup is still going on here at the very popular and beloved Lincoln Country Club.
Now to some local stories we are following at 4. The Rhode Island DEM holding its Wildland firefighter training this morning. It took place in Chepachet to teach young firefighters how to respond to wildfires in the Ocean State. DEM says the training is just one example of how it builds its response to local wildfires. According to the DEM, in 2022, there were more than 80 wildfires in the state, and fires are expected to be more frequent with our changing climate. Well, dozens of child care workers, parents, and more gathering this morning in Warwick to call on state legislature to modify the proposed 2024 state budget. Providence Now reporter Yanni Tregelis has more.
Well, this morning, child care workers, parents, providers, and many other concerned residents gathering in Warwick to talk about a lack of state funding in the proposed state budget for 2024 for child care. Now, Rhode Island received $4 million in new federal funding, but none on the state level for the upcoming 2024 budget. Now, this was a big concern for members of the Head Start program leaders saying that without any new funding, they're not going to be able to reopen the 30 Head Start classrooms that were already closed last year. That's 30 of about 100 classrooms in the state of Rhode Island. And also without new funding, it's also going to be harder to pay their staff better and help fill some of those open positions, thus leading to maybe more closures and more issues within that area. Again, this morning, a lot of concern from parents as well, asking questions to these Head Start leaders about what they need to do to make these changes. Those leaders saying that they should call the governor's office, call Speaker Joe Shekarchi's office. Now, Speaker and Governor, as well as Senate President Dominic Ruggiero, they have all promised to take another look at the proposed budget and consider adding more funding on the state level for child care. This is after it passed the House Finance Committee last Friday as it stands.
New at 4, a man arrested in Ohio last year after leaving Rhode Island following a murder arraigned in Providence Superior Court today. 23-year-old Mayo Benex Martinez is facing charges of first-degree murder and discharging a firearm while committing a crime of violence resulting in death. Martinez was wanted for the killing of Michael De La Rosa, allegedly shooting him on Waverly Street in Providence back in December. Martinez then fled the state, found 2 days later in an Ohio hotel. Police say both men knew each other and there were hard feelings between the two of them. Well, Dartmouth police are looking for your help finding the man who allegedly robbed an Acme liquor store last night. Police say they responded to the liquor store on Dartmouth Street right around 9:30. They say an unknown male entered the store with a firearm demanding money from the clerk. Once they were given the money, they left through the park running towards Solimar Street. The suspect is described as a short male, stocky build, dressed in all black. If you know anything, you are asked to call Dartmouth police. Now to an ABC6 News follow-up. A Pawtucket woman accused of neglect after she brought her dead dog to a vet has been indicted. Authorities say Dawn Ebonante was indicted on 1 count of unnecessary cruelty to animals, resulting in death, and 1 count failure to provide a dog with vet care. AG Nerona says in March, Ocean State veterinary specialists called the Rhode Island SPCA about a dead poodle that was brought in. Workers say the elderly terrier mix showed signs of neglect, including significant hair loss, matting, and large abdominal tumors. Nerona says the dog had not received vet care in over 2 years. Now, sentencing for the former Fall River cop found guilty last month for using excessive force has been delayed. The Bristol County DA says Michael Pessoa will now be sentenced on June 21st. Prosecutors did not say why it would not happen today. A jury found Pessoa guilty of assault and battery, intimidation, civil rights violations, and filing false police reports for 4 separate incidents between 2014 and 2019. 4 people were hospitalized in those cases. He was a 17-year veteran of the force at the time of the incident. Meanwhile, 2 men accused of getting involved in a large fight at a carnival in Providence over the weekend facing a judge today. Malachi Chester and Desmond Brown, both 18, were released on $2,000 personal recognizance. They both faced disorderly conduct and obstruction charges after the fight that broke out Saturday night at George J. West Park. Chester and Brown reportedly wouldn't leave when asked and were both arrested. Brown is also facing a charge for resisting arrest. Police then shut down the carnival. First at 4, you are taking a live look over the city of Providence. Let's get a check on the forecast now with Providence Now Chief Meteorologist Jeff Banson.
Good afternoon, everybody. You're looking at an overcast sky, a little bit of a hazy sky as well, as the cloud deck is mixing with some of that wildfire smoke particulate that we still have trapped in our atmosphere. You can see our skyline pretty well, all things considered, but you go down I-95 to parts of Connecticut, New York City, tri-state area, and they are experiencing some of the worst air quality in decades down there. Of course, this all due to those Canadian wildfires that continue to rage. We have air quality alerts here across southern New England as well. Again, it's not as bad, but still, especially if you suffer from any respiratory issues, this is not a day to go out, do anything strenuous like a run or yard work. Just take it easy, stay indoors if you can, and if you have to be outside, I would consider using an N95 mask. I'm going to be back to talk more about our weather forecast going forward as we head towards the weekend, but right now it is time to send it back inside, and I know Skylar has much more to talk about our air quality situation.
Well, with the smoke filling the skies from the Canadian wildfires, there has been talk about the air quality. Providence Now meteorologist Skylar Spindler has more.
Particulate matter refers to a mixture of solid particles and liquid droplets that's found in the air. Now, some particles such as dust, dirt, soot, or smoke are large or dark enough to be seen with the naked eye. Others are so small that they can only be detected by using an electron microscope. Now, for particles that have diameters that are generally 2.5 micrometers and smaller, that's referred to our PM 2.5. Now, these particles can be inhaled deeply into the lungs, and those are considered more harmful. They're also known as fine particles or fine particulate matter. Now, exposure to these particles can affect both your lungs and your heart, and that can lead to a variety of health problems like aggravated asthma, decreased lung function, irregular heartbeat, heart attacks, and premature death. And that can occur in people who have heart and lung disease. Now, because of these health risks, PM 2.5 is often used as a standard for air quality regulations. For ABC 6, I'm meteorologist Skylar Spindler.
Happening this weekend, the Gaspee Day festivities are back in full swing this weekend in the heart of Patuxent Village. The annual celebration commemorates the burning of the HMS Gaspee in 1772. The weekend kicks off with a gathering at 8 a.m. at the Trinity Church. Then the annual 5K foot race will start at 9:30 on Broad Street. Colonial groups will march down Narragansett Parkway starting at 10, and the burning of the Gaspee presentation will take place Sunday at 4 at Patuxent Park. For a full list of everything you can do during Gaspee Day, you can head to our website, abc6.com. Happening this summer, Pawtucket will give McCoy Stadium a proper send-off with an all-out fireworks celebration this summer. McCoy's final inning will take place on July 3rd and will feature food trucks and live entertainment. For one final goodbye to the Paw Sox Stadium back in November, voters in Pawtucket approved plans to turn the old stadium into a new high school, combining two of the city's oldest high schools. Turning now to local political news, Providence City Councilor Juan Pichardo will pay a fine for campaign finance violations. The Board of Elections said that in February they audited the campaign and found a large discrepancy between his campaign account balance and campaign finance report from December of last year. The audit found several violations, including $3,700 worth of contributions not on campaign reports and a $10,600 that were inaccurately or incompletely disclosed. Pichardo has been ordered to pay $3,000 in fines, which he has paid half so far. He says moving forward, he will hire a campaign treasurer and hire a public accountant to make sure reporting is accurate and transparent. Still to come on ABC6 News first at 4, more gun violence in the U.S. and graduation turned deadly after a gunman opened fire, killing 2 people and injuring others. Plus, at least 17 states now issuing air quality alerts from the ongoing Canadian wildfires, where more than 100 spots continue to blaze. and how the skies are looking here in Rhode Island following that alert that was issued yesterday. Chief Meteorologist Jeff Banson will be live in the Weather Center with a look at your forecast.
Back.
No look.
Let me show you how it's done.
Now I know why they call you the heavy hitter.
Injured in a car wreck? Call me, Attorney Rob Levine.
Call 1-800-LAW-1222.
It's okay, Estella.
Look, they're friendly.
Hi.
Aww.
Overcome your fears and discover the beauty of the unknown.
Grilling and playing yard games, stories and s'mores around the fire pit. Soak up every minute of the season with your friends and family. Enjoy it now and get up to 60 months no interest. Experience the fun at Jordan's.
Sometimes, medical mistakes are made that can cause serious injury.
It was clear that things weren't dealt with properly.
It was a misdiagnosis.
My child has cerebral palsy.
It didn't feel right to say it, but I knew.
The procedure was done incorrectly.
I knew things went wrong.
I just wanted the truth.
Tell them you've called D'Oliveira and Associates. They'll help you get the answers and benefits you deserve.
Confidentially and free.
Call D'Oliveira and Associates on the Hurt Line right now.
Join us for cool summer nights at PPAC. Order now for celebrating Billy Joel, America's Piano Man, on Friday, June 9th. Smash hits such as Just the Way You Are, Uptown Girl, Piano Man, and many more will be performed by Rob Stringer and Alex D in tribute to Billy Joel. Tickets start at just $10 and are on sale now at ppacri.org.
Made possible in part by the Providence Tourism Council.
You're the heavy hitter, Robbie Scott.
Rob Levine.
So why do they call you the heavy hitter? You don't play baseball.
In my game, you're a heavy hitter when you win, and I win a lot.
Hey, Rob, can I have your autograph?
Sure.
Call 1-800-LAW-1222.
Now to a national story we are following at 4. The latest deadly mass shooting in Richmond, Virginia. A 19-year-old accused of open firing outside a high school graduation, appearing in front of a judge today. 2 people were killed during the shooting, an 18-year-old student, Sean Jackson, and his stepfather, Renzo Smith. Jackson's 9-year-old sister is also recovering after being hit by a car trying to get away from the shooting. 5 others were injured. Officials say the 19-year-old is in custody, facing 2 second-degree murder charges. Police say there were several guns found at the scene and believe the shooting may have been targeted.
I'm tired of seeing people get shot.
The Gun Violence Archive reports that there has been 279 mass shootings in 2023 so far. As for Richmond, the school district says it's canceling future graduations for now. An update on the air quality alert issued throughout the Northeast. Millions of Americans are being warned to stay inside as much as they can. Experts saying the air quality is worse since 1999 from Canadian wildfire smoke. This is expected to continue over the next few days. And in New York City, air quality index peaking to unhealthy levels. As well as staying inside, medical experts advise wearing N95 masks and setting air conditioners in your car and house to recirculate. This all comes from over 414 wildfires burning in Canada, 239 of those deemed out of control.
This smoke and fog over New York and the rest of the Northeast is a warning from nature that we have a lot of work to do to reverse the destruction of climate change.
Researchers saying outdoor exposure to wildfire smoke of air quality index 150 for a few days is the same as smoking 7 cigarettes a day.
And now, your ABC 6 Storm Tracker weather with meteorologist Jeff Benson.
Well, just an incredible situation across the Northeast today. And of course, as Liz was talking about, air quality alerts all over the map from here in southern New England to all of New York State, down the Jersey Turnpike there, New Jersey, parts of the Mid-Atlantic, Baltimore, D.C., Pennsylvania. This area right here are the areas that are seeing the worst air quality at the moment. So let's talk a little bit about this air quality scale. And I'll just say right now, full disclosure, I just had to add this hazardous one. I've never seen this in my weather career, at least not here in the U.S. But you're going through all of these, and again, it gets a little wordy, but we go from good to moderate, unhealthy for sensitive groups for some, those that have respiratory ailments, things of that nature, asthma. Then you have unhealthy for all. you have very unhealthy and then that hazardous situation where it is essentially a health emergency at that rate. And the numbers that correspond to that, we are currently here in Providence looking at an air quality index of 93. That is moderate. So it is, again, better here than it is across other parts of the Northeast. But you go down just a little bit further south here in the Ocean State, you see that little red circle over Narragansett. That is, I just checked, a 153, and that falls under unhealthy air for all. So depending on where you are, depending on where you're traveling to this afternoon, and if you have any kind of respiratory ailment or difficulty breathing, you need to consider either staying indoors altogether. If you have to head outside, an N95 mask is a very good idea. And again, you zoom things out here, and again, the circles are a little tough to see, but there are some maroon circles down towards New York City. Incredibly hazardous air. This stat just blows my mind as someone who grew up in the New York City area. 355, the current air quality index down in Manhattan. That is the worst measured air quality index in the entire world at this hour, folks, beating out places like China and India that are known to have less than stellar air. Look at how thick this smoke plume is right over that area. And again, we're right on the cusp of it here in southern New England, but you go a little bit further north up towards areas like Boston and Portland, the air gets significantly better because you're closer to that upper level low that is spinning overhead. And we are completely at the mercy of the wind flow with this upper level low. Contrary to popular belief, we had some heavy rain last night. People thought that that might clear out the air, but in fact, it made it worse in some cases. It made the smell more detectable. You walked outside right after that heavy downpour, it smelled like a campfire. That's because some of that rain actually brought some of the smoky air particles down to the surface a little bit more. So we need that wind to shift, and unfortunately, not shifting a ton here over the next couple of days. The low will slowly meander to the west. That maybe gives us a little bit of a respite, but as you can see, that smoke is still looking, at least checking the scale here, moderate to say the least. We're really going to hope that they can get a handle on these Canadian wildfires sooner rather than later. That will, of course, also help the situation. You can see, again, the wind flow right on over those fires. A little tougher to make them out on visible satellite this afternoon because the cloud deck has overspread those fires, so you can't see them. As we take a look here at home on the SatRad, a couple of sprinkles to our north. Mostly dry out there and mostly cloudy, but again, cloudy mixed with that wildfire smoke haze. That's going to be the case as we head really into the next couple of days. Again, the upper level low, the pattern is not changing all that much. And even if we get some breaks of sun, it's not going to be that bright blue sky. It's going to look on the hazy side. Temperatures will remain in the upper 60s, so a little bit cooler for this time of year.